Welcome back. Very well. Here it... Good to see you. Is it there? Are there books? Oh, can I go borrow some? Really? A whole library's worth of data? Right there? Oh, that's great news! So, what did you find? Tell me about it. I suspect you and I are two of the only people who really appreciate its value. Yes! Oh my goodness, when I'm done with this, I'll have to work on copying all of this information. It could take a while, you know. Oh, but here's a book of mine and some caps for your research. Think of it as pay for a civilization worth of overdue books. I want to find out the history of how a successful settlement like Rivet City got started. I've also got to do a section on working with old computer electronics. So there's some research to be done in the old Robco production facility. And that'll be it for the last chapter. So, what'll it be? It does, doesn't it? I mostly just deal with it after it's junked. But a trader gave me this Robco processor widget. He said it's worth a fortune. According to him, if it's connected to the mainframe in the Robco factory, you could have access to all the robots you'd ever want. Now that would be a great example of how to harness technology, wouldn't it? Yeah, you should just be able to plug it into the mainframe at the Robco production facility. It'll give you access to the robots and terminals. Okay, here. And be sure to keep an eye peeled for any other examples of how to make old technology work for you out there. Good luck with that. Fiddle with any interesting Well, why not go over there and make a few friends? Or activate them, I guess. Abs. Good hunting! Good
It's good to see you alive and well. Well, madam. Well, see you anyway. It's good to see you alive and well, madam. Well,
You'll never get away with terrorizing this town. Not while it's under the protection of the Mechanist.
You and your pathetic tin cans are no match for my army.
The citizens of this town have nothing to fear. The Mechanist is here to protect them.
Ha! We'll see about that. Attack, my ant soldiers. Destroy this fool and his tin toys.
Go forth, my steadfast creation. Show these vermin humanity's true power.
They kill themselves off with their petty wars.
Humans may be weak sometimes, but our creations are strong and pure. Something you'll never be.
Fool! Humanity's creations were the seeds of their undoing. And now, the world will belong to the antagonizer!
Are you all right? You aren't hurt, are you? I'd like to apologize for the rude welcome. Those two have been a bit of a problem lately. Name's Rowe. Uncle Rowe to most. Welcome to Canterbury Commons. For what that's worth. The, Mechanist and the Ant Agonizer. That's just what they call themselves. It's ridiculous, I know. A while ago, we were attacked by the Ant Agonizer, that woman with the ants, obviously. The Mechanist saved the town with his robots. Well, that was all well and good, but I swear their fights are getting bigger, and it's been driving off the merchants. They simply won't leave. Oh, that's terrific. I knew you'd help out. Knew it in my gut, and it's never steered me wrong on a deal yet. Find where the Ant Agonizer and the Mechanist hide and convince them to stop or otherwise end their hostility, and you'll earn 200 caps. You only need to stop one of them, really. Nowadays, I think they only stay in Canterbury to fight each other. You drive a hard bargain, friend. But seeing how we haven't been able to solve the problem ourselves, fine. You've got a deal. But I expect results. Oh, and please do try to use some discretion. We already have plenty of would-be heroes starting wars in our streets. We don't need another. If it'll help, I'm glad to. Now, one day there was a crazy woman leading a bunch of ants into town. She said humanity was dead and the ants would inherit the earth, stuff like that. Well, that gave Dom plenty of time to line up a shot or two on the ants. She ran away, but every once in a while she'd stage an attack again. She wasn't much of a threat then. In fact, she was sort of entertaining at first. Gave everyone in town something to talk about. But when the Mechanists started fighting her, things got bad. Ants are easy to shoot, but add robots with lasers, it got real nasty. The Mechanist used to be our town mechanic, Scott Walensky. Quiet guy, but plenty fierce with a wrench and some solder. Guy used to take care of a robot that protected the town until it got torn up in one of the Ant Agonizer's lame little attacks. I guess he took it personal because he made a mechanical suit and called himself the Mechanist, said he would lead a robot army to fight her. Now he doesn't even respond to his name, and his robot army is more dangerous to the town than the ants ever were. My nephew Derek might know more about them. I swear it's all I can do to keep him from running into the fight whenever they come out. He might know more about where you can find them, but don't encourage the poor boy. He's had enough close calls. I most heartily agree. Glad to help, glad to help. You'll want to talk with Joe Porter over in Dot's Diner. I don't know who Dot was, but I'm sure Porter's food does her memory proud. When they're in town, you can find the caravan trader out front of the town. They say it's a good way to catch a visitor's eye. Enjoy! Ha! Damn near everything, I suspect. I founded the place myself, and I'm the reason this place stays fat and happy. Because I asked them to, I suspect. I grew up in these trade caravans, known most of them my whole life. I founded this place with my sister Daisy back in the day. Perfect stop along the caravan circuit. They're just small caravans that make rounds through the wastes, hawking their wares from Paradise Falls to Rivet City. They won't trade with anyone who's hit their friends, but that's about as organized as they get. I had thought about it, but some of these wasteland traders, well, they aren't exactly the organizational type. It'd take a pretty savvy businessman to make it worth their while to work together. Frankly, I'm not sure even I'm up to the task. I agree wholeheartedly. I'd hate to unduly burden a dedicated entrepreneur. You can usually find one of the trade caravans at the entrance to town. They come through every day or two. Other than them, Porter's always got food for sale down at the diner. Good luck with those two troublemakers.
Hey there.
Newcomer to town, huh? Well, I'm Dominic Delasadro, and welcome to Canterbury Commons. Try to ignore the idiots in the costumes. Popular activities around town are trading, listening to row yap, and burying thieves in unmarked graves. Of course, we ran out of thieves to bury long ago. Saw to it myself. Might be a dead art, unless you're planning on stealing anything. When I can find time for it, sure. In the gardening business, it's the personal touches that make all the difference. Anyway, welcome to town. Don't cause trouble. Threats of violent justice, so on, so forth. You look like you know the drill. Ro hired you to put a stop to their shit, did he? Guess he finally listened when I told him I haven't got the time to do it myself. It's easy enough to hide inside when those two square off, but they're only getting worse about it all. I don't know who she is, other than a crazy with an ant suit and a chip on her shoulder for humanity. She wasn't much trouble by herself, really. Her attacks were a joke, but at least stories of her kept some of the raiders at bay. If it helps, she was always attacking from the warrens up north. Maybe you can find her ant nest in there. You mean Scott Walensky? I refuse to call him by that ridiculous name just because his head got a screw loose. He used to be a damn good friend, and not just because he fixed my guns up. Now he spends all his time up in that bot shop, just thinking about fighting that ant agonizer. Hardly even recognizes his own name anymore. If you could just make either one of them stop fighting, it'd do the trick. You probably wouldn't have to worry about the other one. I can't imagine Scott attacking the town with his robots, and that ant agonizer girl was never much more than a sideshow freak by herself. Ro may prefer that you're thorough, but all I care about is that you get the job done, one way or the other. Fine by me. Canterbury's a good town. Ro's done a damned good job setting up the place, and no one can handle the day-to-day details like him. But when it comes to the big stuff, that's when he needs a little help. That's where I come in. Life and death matters, putting down thieves, protecting people from raiders who are short-sighted or stupid enough to attack, that sort of thing. Pretty much. Anything the man can't solve by talking at it. And don't misunderstand, he can solve a lot of things that way. I'm about the rarest thing out here in the wastes, a mercenary who lived long enough to retire. I used to sell my services around here, so it was a natural place to settle down. Not a bad sort of retirement, honestly. If you're done asking questions, I'm sure there's something I should be keeping an eye on. Later.